All rise for the pledge. I pledge
Allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Clerk, please call the roll.
Councilman Alvarez.
Here.
Councilman Larkin.
Here.
Councilman Lord.
Here.
Councilman O'Connor.
Here.
Supervisor Hay.
Here. Notation to exits in the front and the rear, an electronic device. Please put it on vibrate. I make a motion to come out of the executive session. No
Second.
action was taken.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Okay, Lori Bell, you've come here this night to give us an update on star changes. Thank you for coming. You're always here, but tonight you're officially here.
Today I'm officially here, yes. So a couple of months ago in September when the school bills came out, there was the flurry of confusion and questions because that's when the state really implemented the most recent change. Going back to the beginning of STAR was in 1997, and originally anybody that owned their primary residence got the basic STAR, and anybody over 65 got the enhanced STAR. Then in 2016, the state said, you know what, if you make more than $500,000, you don't qualify for the STAR. And the exemption was coming off your school bill. Then in 2019, last year, they made a lot more changes. Anybody whose income was between $250,000 and $500,000, they switched them automatically from the exemption off their school bill to a credit check, a STAR credit check. That's the state's way of redoing their budget when they do it every year. But as far as practical application, anybody who gets a basic STAR exemption currently on their house doesn't have to worry about any changes. Any new property owners that buy a house, they have to register directly with the state, either online or with a phone call. And they will only get a STAR credit check. It no longer comes off your school bill unless you already have it. Any new people, they get a check in the mail. The seniors last year, over 65, getting the enhanced STAR, and when they renewed it, they had to also sign a new form that was called the income verification form, which now they're registered with the state, and the state is verifying their income going forward every year. If the seniors didn't sign that form last year when they brought the renewal into our office like they had done for the last 20 years, the state was not granting them the enhanced STAR exemption, because if they can't verify their income, they won't give them the enhanced STAR. Then we get a list that says these people don't qualify, take them off, they only get the basic STAR. Perhaps the most confusing right now is that because the state is verifying the income for the enhanced STAR with the seniors, if they can't verify it via a filed tax return, they're sending physical letters to the seniors saying, we need to verify your income, please fill out this income worksheet and send it back to us. That's all being handled directly through the state, not through the local assessor's offices. The only reason anybody will now need to come to the assessor's office for STAR is if they currently receive the basic STAR, they're turning 65, their income is under the threshold, then they can come to us and convert and apply for the enhanced STAR, but then they will be registered with the state who will verify their income going forward. Over and above STAR, the seniors that still need to come see me in the office every year before March 1st are those that are also getting the senior citizens exemption. That's a much larger exemption, comes off their town, county, and their school bills. That gets renewed every year by March 1st, and that income threshold is substantially lower. It's their total income has to be less than $37,400. For STAR, the income threshold for this coming year is $88,050, and again, that's verified through the state. So there's been a lot of changes recently, and especially in September, some people with the basic STAR whose income may have exceeded the threshold, they got automatically switched from the exemption off their school bill to a credit check, and that could potentially mess up somebody's escrow account if they have a mortgage payment. So I've had a couple of conversations with people that fell into that. They're, wait, I got a check in the mail, but now it's not off my school bill. So,
I fell into that category.
yeah, I know you did. You were like, wait, I don't understand.
I
So
still don't understand, even with you explaining it.
there is speculation that the state might continue to drop the income threshold for the basic STAR and switch people to the credit check instead. The state is touting the benefits to switching to a credit check is that there's up to a 2% increase in the benefit amount if you switch to a check. There's no guarantees with the state. If you have the exemption off your school bill, do not switch to the credit check, especially if you have a mortgage. It's just not worth it.
Lori, quick question for you. Would
Sure.
they check, do these qualifications, are they gonna be checking these annually? So if your income were to pass the qualification, you'll automatically go into a different type of rebate for Star?
Yeah, so because basically anybody that files a tax return, which is 90% of the population, the state is looking at your tax return and they're saying, you qualify, you don't qualify, you qualify, you don't qualify. So if you're over 65 and you were on the enhanced Star, and let's say, I don't know, you inherited $100,000 from a family-friendly aunt, then that income for that year would push you over the income limit for the enhanced Star, and the state would say that we get a list once a year and it says, nope, these guys no longer qualify this year. They get dropped to basic, and then the following year the state looks at their next year's tax return, and so once they're enrolled, the state's going to verify from year to year. And then again, if the state's making any additional cuts for the basic Star in terms of, I shouldn't say cuts, lowering that income threshold to qualify for the exemption off your school bill versus switching you to the credit check, that all has to do with potential changes in the state legislature. So it all depends. I haven't heard anything that's brewing, but I guess that all depends on when that budget gets passed for the state. Edwin, did you have a question?
My question was going to be, you answered it, was,
Okay.
I assume the state is verifying income based on your tax returns?
Yes, as well as your residency, because if, like, let's say you have a PO box that you use for your driver's license, your registration, your tax returns. If they can't verify that 123 Main Street is your primary residence, they may reach out to you and say, hey, listen, you need to give us some additional documentation.
What about if you have, a senior that, hey, I haven't worked, I don't file income taxes, just leave me alone type deal, even though it would be to their benefit, I'm sure, to file, but, for the.
Yeah, it all
but
depends.
Can they just still come into you and say, I want to apply for this, or?
Only if it's a new basic to enhanced Star application, and then it's a one-time in my office, they sign up that automatic verification with the state, and the state verifies it going forward. But to your point about those year-end, that say the 1099s is all they get from Social
Right.
Security and maybe a pension,
Right.
and they're not filing a tax return, those are the ones it seems like the state is reaching out to with a hard copy letter saying, hey, we need this information about your income in order to see if you still qualify for the enhanced Star for 2020.
And last question, I guess income is it's gross, or, it doesn't, is it based on individual, or if you're married, combined income?
So
Because-
for the enhanced Star and the basic Star, it's your federally adjusted gross less any IRA distributions. And currently, they're looking at your 2018 tax return for the 2020 school bill. It's supposed to be your most recently filed tax return. So most of us haven't filed a 2019 yet. We don't even have the statements yet.
Exactly,
So
right.
that's why it always seems like they're 2 years behind, but
Okay.
it's
It's
a
really like a
year
year.
for tax filing purposes.
Thank you.
Yeah, sure. Anybody else? Okay.
Thank you.
Thank you. Okay. I make a motion to go into the work session.
I'll second.
All in favor?
Aye.
First item is discussion State Line Realty. Kind of turn it so the public can see it as well. We kind of have a map here, but we can both see. Come this way more. That's it, Jeff. Okay. I think they can see both. Just state your names for the record, and if you can give us a very brief history of what was there and what you're proposing in the change, if you could.
First of all, my name is Paul Kamada. I've been a developer up in Putnam County since...
Can you hear him out there? I can't hear him well. Can you hear him? I can
Okay,
hear
I'll
you.
speak a little louder if that's better. My name is Paul Kamada. I've been a real estate developer in Putnam County since 1986. So it's about 33 years I've been here. The last time I was in front of this board was probably 8 or 10 years ago. I think I was 40 pounds lighter, and probably I'd say my balance sheet looked a little better 8 years ago than it does today.
Hair was a little darker too.
Excuse me?
Your hair was probably darker.
Hair was a bit darker also. Yes, there's a few changes. So I'm here today to talk a little bit about the project, but really just as a courtesy to be here so I can answer questions directly of the board, because I don't go to the meetings. I leave it up to the professionals to handle it. Quite frankly, they do a better job than I do. But I wanted to be here tonight the first time just to talk to you fellas, and the lady at the end, of course. I've never met most of you personally. I can only tell you that in the last 10 years, the world has changed. When I was doing this for the first 20 years, I didn't solicit anybody. Believe it or not, some of the biggest companies knocked on my door, found my office, walked up and said, we'd like to talk about coming to Putnam. They are the biggest and best, but the world has changed. The retail world has changed. I get spoken to by supervisors. Paul, when are you going to start? When are you going to start? When are you going to do this? When are you going to do that? And I said, do you think this is self-inflicted? Are you an Amazon Prime customer? Oh, it's fantastic. My wife and I would love it. Well, that's why they're not building retail stores. You know, convenience comes with a cost. It's going to cost you downtowns. It's going to affect everything. In life, we all know. In my case, I like to eat, but we know it has side effects to eating. That convenience is going to cost us big time. It's unfortunate, but that's the way it's going. The world's just changing. In Carmel, when I first came to Carmel, I looked at Putt Plaza, and it was a terrible-looking place. Terrible. Dilapidated, really terrible-looking place. 100% occupied. Today, it looks great. There's 12 empty stores, and there's 5 across the street next to the CVS. What we have in this county, we have a decreasing population. We have a lack of young people. Just look at your school populations. That is not an environment to bring commercial businesses in. If your brother was opening a business, you'd say, you know, kids' school population is down 30%. Overall population is down. The tax base is disappearing. Those things are happening today and have been happening for 10 years. And one day, those lines are going to cross. Because you can close a school, but you get killed with those legacy costs because they last forever. So you're going to be paying those legacy costs for years and years. So, look, I never worried about the process here to get approvals. We just stayed on the horse, figured at the end of the day we'd get an approval if we did the right thing, and there'll be users there, people. That is not the case anymore. That is definitely not the case. Today I sit on major projects that are fully approved. The market is determining things. What we know is that this is one of the toughest barrier to entry markets in this entire region. And for good reason in some cases. The New York City DEP is here to protect the water, and they're doing it at your expense, but for everybody's benefit. So that's not going away. And we'll just live with it. And the DEC and the health department and your zoning and your this and your that. So those regulations are here. They're probably good to be in place, but that's staying. In other places, their regulations are less. They have less agencies to deal with. So it makes it easier for people to come in. They just look at the process and say, it's an easier process, which means less money. I'll give you an example. Last year, I came to the board, and this board granted me an extension of the approval. We didn't ask for one change. We didn't change a line on the map. Your board recognized that. And other agencies did. The New York State DOTs said, no. So we spent 12 months working with the DOT to get them to write a letter to your board to say, we're okay. And I said to them, I have nothing to offer you. Who's coming? Nobody. Then nobody's coming there? I said, people, I've been fishing for 9 years. There's no fish. So why would all of a sudden I come here today and have answers for you? So we spent 1 year just getting the letter that was sent to your board to say, okay, extend the approval. And thank God, because this year we were able to catch a fish. So what I'm really saying to this town, and other towns ask me, Paul, what can we do? There's not a lot you can do. The regulations are here. You're not going to lower your regulations. They're probably fair. So that's in place. The DEP is going to do what they do. The DEC is going to do it. It's all fixed. So we can't change that. All I would say is when people come in, and I'm not talking about me. Well, I'm here 32 years. I'll be here till I die, okay? That's just a fact. I'm chained to the boat. I'm like Ben-Hur. Remember Ben-Hur? He was in the boat. When they were in battle, they chained all the slaves to the oars and said, if you don't row fast, you'll go down with the ship. So I guess I'm chained to Putnam County. But what I would say is this. When you do get applicants come in businesses, they're not used to this. They aren't. They'll go to Connecticut and they'll be approved in 3 or 4 months. You can't offer that. They'll go even in other parts of New York and they'll be approved. So what you really have to do is put on a kind of face. You know, if you're in the hotel business, keep the light on the front door. Make sure your sign is lit. Keep the welcome mat out. Because we're never going to change the regs and the way business is here. But when they come in, we're going to have to be very open to them. We can't change the regs. But be open. Be receptive. Put on a good face. And maybe, like in this case, they'll spend $5 million in the county. And maybe you'll employ 100 people. I don't know. But that's the only thing we have now. I've been fishing for this guy for, well, I met him 6 years ago. And when I was on a conference call, I didn't realize years later that the gentleman who I was talking to had a British South African accent. He was actually the CEO of the company. We couldn't make a deal. I told him, it's just not, we can't do that. It's impossible. I'd love to have you 6 years ago. Thank God they came back. But we deal with time frames. These companies today, they know there's nobody behind them. So when they say jump, the old saying, we say how high and how many times. They have blackout periods. If we can't build by this month, no problem. We'll build next year, maybe. If our stock is still high. Because we know one thing, timing kills everything. All my commitments I had over the years are all gone. Timing. So when we have that fish and we got him on a line, he's around the boat, we can't be fooling around with the line because he will swim away. And you've got to understand that. And Putnam County has to understand that. And the county has to understand it. Otherwise, and one thing good, if we can get a couple of fish, maybe one here, maybe one in Carmel, maybe one in Patterson, they seem to follow each other. But right now, if you drive through Putnam County, and maybe there are some people who like it, but the thought of overdevelopment, never again. The sight of a bulldozer is a rare occurrence in this county. This country has been under a 10-year expansion, 10 years. And in the last 2 or 3 years, we've seen a big increase in expansion. We've seen none of it. But and you could say that's the case for a lot of counties in the state of New York. You could make the case. You cannot make it about Westchester. They have a growing population, a growing tax base. They have sewer, we don't. Maybe in years to come, after I'm gone, you'll work on getting sewer to come, but it won't be in my lifetime. I just know. I hear plans and I say, that's for the next guy. So just be open. be receptive when they come in, if it's me or if it's one of the other developers, because it's important we start getting a little bit of traction. And I'm not looking to cut any corners. I'm not looking to fight with anybody. Okay? We just want to see if we can I want to get these guys in the ground so I can meet their blackout period. So they don't tell me next year and then I find out, oh shit, the stock dropped 15%. They've cut back on all extensions. I get the letter, sorry, Mr. Kamada, you couldn't deliver in time, we're gone. It's happened to me. So with that, I'll turn it over to Jeff, who can give you some questions. If you have any questions while I'm here, I'd be happy to answer any of them. And here's to Putnam County. Hopefully we can see a little something happening. Thanks, guys.
Thank you.
And the lady at the end, I'm sorry.
Good evening, Jeff Cantelmo from Insight Engineering, Surveying and Landscape Architecture. I'll be brief, just for the public's background. We're here before this board because this board has approval authority over large retail establishments, both for site plan and special use permit, and because of that, they also pick up permitting authority for the wetland permits. We are also at the same time before the planning board, who are reviewing our subdivision and lot line change. And what we're proposing this evening is the first phase of a real user for the State Line Retail Center. State Line was originally approved, I think, in '09, had several extensions, several reapprovals, included over 200,000 square feet of retail and also an office component. The current proposal with the Restaurant Depot is for a 57,500 square foot building on what would be the center lot of the 44 acres. It would sit on 11 acres. And Restaurant Depot, as described in the statement of use, is exactly what its name implies. It's the Home Depot for restaurants. The only difference would be that it is membership driven. The members are restaurants, local food purveyors, not-for-profits. Restaurant Depot is a national brand. They have 135 stores in 35 states in the United States. And nearby, they have a Newburgh facility to the west, and to the east, they have a Waterbury facility. So this is a sweet spot for them. They selected this site based on its proximity to Danbury and to Westchester. As Paul said, you know, they've shown a commitment to the site. They're excited about getting this going, and we're going to be working diligently over the next several months to get our approvals in place for the refinement of our site plan associated with the changes necessary to accommodate them. And so again, tonight was just, you know, our first introduction to your board. As I said, we are working separately with the planning board. We've already appeared before them, and we're going again before them next week. So as Paul said, we're here this evening to answer any questions and also to keep this process going and hopefully planning out our next step.
Okay, I would say it's kind of new to the board. I mean, you've been in front of the planning board for, like you said, 2009? Okay, that's what, 11 years ago, long time?
That's when we were approved, actually.
Is pretty much everyone on the board aware of where it was, what it's at?
Yes.
And so ask the question now if you have any. I think it's pretty, I wouldn't say simplified, but it's been well explained. I will tell you now that we're going to schedule tonight during our regular portion of the meeting, we're going to set a public hearing for the site plan, special permit, and wetland permit. We got that authorization today from AKRF.
Okay.
So you wanted to put that on your calendar. It's February 20th.
Okay, great.
It's a Thursday night, public hearing. But if the board has any questions at this point in time,
I mean,
ask
like you
away.
said, you've basically scaled this down. I mean, I remember the project from years ago being on the planning board and all that. So obviously, there's still room to build other stuff. You know, if you're subdividing it, I assume, I'm making it up, you're gonna, you know, save room for somebody else that wants to come in. But in the grand scheme of things, is anything else changing? Obviously, no zoning is changing. Basically, the footprint that we have right now, you can just accommodate the building, and I'm being oversimplifying. You're just gonna stick it right in the middle, and you're basically done and can walk away,
Right.
is the way I look at it.
Right, and the net is, you know, the footprint for Restaurant Depot is a little less efficient than what we had originally, so we will be losing total square footage when and if we build out. The only significant change was really driven by the DOT, and it's really not significant in that it's an enhancement. They always wanted the main entrance and the secondary entrance flipped. Originally, the main entrance was to the east, and the secondary entrance, which was just a right-in, right-out, was to the west.
Can you, by the way, before we go too much further, I know, we know, but maybe the public know, can you explain to them where it is on Route 6 heading toward Connecticut? Identify
Sure,
it.
sure. Basically, the property is pretty much halfway between 684 and the Connecticut state line. It's a little over a mile each way, so it's right in that central portion of Route 6, and it's sandwiched between Route 6 and Route 684.
Okay. and as
Excuse
you-
me, Route 84.
And as you head east, it's past Ratchie's Restaurant by
It's-
about how much?
Just past Rachi's Restaurant
Quarter
on the
mile,
right.
half mile, 100
Yeah,
yards?
a quarter mile, our property starts.
Okay.
And then our property runs for probably a half mile.
Does it
It's
go
a-
as far as Dingle Ridge Road?
It ends just short of Dingle Ridge Road. There is one other parcel that's on the corner of Dingle Ridge after us.
Okay.
Yes.
I know it, I want the public to know. it.
Yep, understood. And so, coming back to the switch to the entries, that was something that the DOT really wanted. And they felt there were benefits to the highway system for that. So now, we're gonna be aligned with our main entrance on the western portion of the property, and we're gonna be aligned with a realigned Farrington Road. So Farrington Road comes out to Route 6 kind of on an acute angle. They're gonna have us shorten that up and bring it in a more perpendicular fashion, and then line up with our entrance. Restaurant Depot will necessitate some DOT improvements. It'll require a left turn lane into the property, which will also facilitate a left turn lane into the new realigned Farrington. And then they want us to set it up for a future signal, traffic signal, that would go in once more development happens. The DOT has a very stringent, bright line you have to cross before you can put in a signal, which is, they do under a warrant analysis, which our traffic engineer has already run. We met with the DOT yesterday, right? Earlier this week for a second meeting, and they're all on board with the current alignment that we have, so they're moving forward with their process.
Well, right now, Route 6 out in that area, of course, is a 4-lane highway. If it's gonna propose a left-hand turn, is there gonna be like a third lane there to make that turn?
Correct.
So how does that, if you have a line going like this with 2, what happens when it expands?
So basically what happens is you have 4 12-foot lanes there now. There'll be a 5th 12-foot lane at the intersection, and it'll be opposed left turn lanes, one that comes left into our site and one that goes left into Farrington Road. That will necessitate a widening of the road by 12 feet. That 12 feet will taper down to nothing, coming out several hundred feet to the east and the west. So you're talking about an improvement to that stretch of the roadway that may extend out 800 feet in total to accommodate those turn lanes.
So a portion of the divider that's currently there, will that be removed, or are they gonna move it more to the right-hand side of it when you put the extra lane?
So the median will remain. The median will shift at the left turn, and so the lanes to the north of us will also shift.
Okay.
And again, what you're seeing is, it's like a snake who just ate a mouse 12 hours ago. It's in the middle of them, right, where it's wider, and it tapers back down in both directions.
Do you have to donate land to the DOT to make these improvements?
Our traffic engineers informed us that there's adequate right-of-way to
Okay.
accommodate those improvements, but in addition to that, Mr. Camarda controls the property on the north side also.
The only reason I ask is, I know in other projects when I was on the planning board, that process could take a long time. So
Correct.
you know, you may want to look at doing that now, so it doesn't.
We already have, thank you.
Okay.
Yeah, you're absolutely correct. It's a very long process, but we don't need to get involved.
Well, so if you make those so I use Joe's Hill almost every day, and it's really dangerous pulling in there from Route 6. So having a turning lane from Route 6 onto Farrington to access Joe's Hill, I think is a huge plus.
Right.
Will this entrance, Joe's Hill to Route 6, stay open, or will that be closed?
That will remain open.
Okay.
I think the light is actually going to, when it's put in, the light is gonna make it easier because there'll be a natural break. Understand some basic facts is that Route 6 in Southeast is probably the most overbuilt, underutilized road in the county, and Supervisor knows that. He had a business on that road for years. I think it carries 7,000 cars a day. It's 2 lanes in each direction. Route 6 in front of my office in Carmel is 1 lane in each direction and carries 16,000 cars a day. So Carmel has doubled the cars on a single lane road, and you have half as many cars with double the roadway. So we went to the DOT and we said, if we're gonna put a turning lane in, let us use one of the lanes that's out there and make it into a turning lane and not build another 5th lane. DOT said no. That was from the original point. But I must tell you, I told you I spent a year with DOT last year, basically talking about paper. DOT met with us in October. They met with us again this week. They've been very receptive. They've looked at all our papers. They understand we got it, and quite frankly, this is more of an expense for me to move that entrance, but I frankly agree with them. And I told them, I think it's a better plan.
Yeah, I think it'll be an improvement there.
So I said to them, I'll go for it. But no good deed goes unpunished, as we know. But DOT said to me, Paul, we got all the facts, we got all the geometry, you won't land on both sides of the road, we can get this done. I said, we got to get it done, I got to get someone to break ground. So they understood it, and they've been very receptive. So I don't want to leave this meeting talking bad about the DOT, because they are, it was a very good meeting. And your planner attended that meeting, by the way, which I thought was a great thing, that she came and could understand everything firsthand for you, so that was a great thing. All right, and look, we're not looking for any favors. Well, we just don't want to waste any time. We don't want to do unnecessary meetings if we can condense things into one meeting, providing my professionals are prepared, which we will be.
Look, we already got you scheduled for a public hearing. in a few
God
minutes.
bless you.
So in a perfect world, if you were to break ground tomorrow, what are we talking about? How long of a building schedule? 18 months or less, or?
Building schedule? If I get Restaurant Depot in the ground early this summer, they'll be open in the fall.
And
These companies, when you do something 100, 200 times, you get it down to a science.
now, and again, I'm sure you've done your homework and Restaurant Depot's done their homework, but in theory, I guess, what about Ace Endico? Is that not almost like a similar, or they?
I think I've
Are they
been to
just
both.
different?
I'm a constant or a frequent customer at Restaurant Depot in Portchester. It's like my favorite store. But I think the difference is that they are more cash and carry, where Ace Endico does a lot of delivery.
Big
Okay.
difference.
Yeah.
That's the key. That is the key.
They're-
You
no,
pick
they're
up your stuff.
And they're wholesale.
So what are you doing there?
I know a person that has a restaurant.
They are very lenient with your ability to shop there. It's any organization, it could be a fire department, it could be any volunteer group, any organization. But they are pick up, put it in your car, truck, van, where Ace Endico is a higher end delivery situation. Different guy buys at different places.
And last question for me, and I'm going off memory from 2009 and whatnot, with the Farrington Road, was that really like the back, there was like, I seem to recall, based on how this was gonna be built, we'll call it the back entrance, or a back roadway to help alleviate traffic, or just another exit. Am I getting them confused, or?
Yeah, I
is that
think,
what-
I think you may be confused. The
Okay.
original plan did have 2 connections through Route 6. As I said, the easterly connection was the main entrance, signalized full movement, and the westerly connection was again going to be a right in, right out, which is a simple maneuver that can take some of the stress off the main entrance, and also provide secondary access for emergency purposes. So it was really just the 2 flipped, and we weren't relying on Farrington for anything, really, yeah.
Thank you. Good luck.
Yeah, good luck.
I understand that you're going to be at the planning board on Monday.
Correct.
And I think they're looking for you to provide them with a plan of what you're going to do with the whole site.
Correct.
Okay, so,
We've already done that. What
Okay.
you see up here is really the master plan for the site,
for the whole site. Okay.
which has been submitted to them,
Okay, cool.
along with the
Yeah, I think that they
environmental,
were looking for that in order to go forward with any.
with the secret process,
approvals.
correct.
Okay,
Right.
cool. So you're going to be ready for that on Monday?
We are ready, we've submitted it, and,
Good. See you on Monday.
okay, thank you very much.
Okay.
Thank
See
you,
you on
Ted.
February 10th.
Thanks, yep.
Okay, second item for discussion, Highway Superintendent update. Ms. Burdick, you're on.
I don't know if you have the papers that I gave
Yeah,
up to the
it's-
supervisor.
It's all marked WS number 2 on your
Yes.
agenda.
We're looking to update some equipment. The roller, for one, is the 2003 that we purchased back. You know, we use it quite frequently during the summer. It's actually worn out now. It's not really cost-effective to continue to repair it. It's unreliable at best. And the second item is an additional piece of equipment for installing drainage. You know, I've only been here for 20-some days, and I've found, you know, about 20 catch basins and over 1,000 feet of pipe that have failed. You know, we're looking to, you know, buy a piece of equipment to expedite these repairs. You know, we got, there's stuff all over the place that I have to work on right now. And then the last item is town still has two federal surplus vehicles that we purchased, and we're looking to retrofit those into turn them into plow trucks, which we've had great success with the first ones that we've done. They're, you know, cost about, it's less than half the expense than buying a new one. A new truck is over $200,000. We can do 2 of these retrofits for about $180,000. And these are vehicles, one of them has 1,500 miles on it, and it's a 2009. And the other one's a 2008, and has about 16,000 miles on it. So they're, you know, relatively, they're not worn out at all, so we can get a lot of use out of these things.
Now, Mike did stop in to see myself and Ron, and we got the budgetary numbers worked out. We won't have to bond for it. There's money within the budget to get it done. And the recommendation will come forward from our office and hopefully the board to purchase the equipment at the next meeting.
Okay, so
And-
this is already an equipment line in the budget, so.
No, there's money in the budget to purchase this equipment. So the
Okay.
budget, the money's there, we don't have to bond, okay?
Good.
And we'll have that prepared for the next meeting.
And how much more would be left in the budget for equipment purchase after this? Will we also find that out?
Yes and no. It's a line that carries about 5 to 6 to 7 to 10 different items that could be done. So I can give you a
Okay.
number, but it doesn't necessarily mean it's all equipment is for.
Yeah, and just for future reference, right now I'm working on a replacement schedule. You know, I know that you guys don't have a vehicle replacement schedule right now. So I've been, when I have time, I've been working on this vehicle replacement schedule, which I hope to have to you in, you know, early in the spring. And, you know, I'll be able to have that, and we can, you know, start planning, you know, in the future for vehicles that need to be replaced, and we can look, you know, to maybe earmark some funds going forward.
And that's what we have to do. In other words, this money's here, we can account for, okay?
Good.
He's gonna come up with another one, and then Ron and I will go through the budget. Again, we're trying not to borrow, but there's many things that have to be done, a lot of drainage issues here in the town, but this is equipment that can be purchased, so we have it in a line, but the funding's there, and that's usually our biggest concern, where's the money coming from?
The blacktop roller that we have now, will we be disposing of that, or?
Well, I would probably just keep it for a spare, just to, you know, because it doesn't really have any dollar value. It wouldn't be worth, you know, it's not like it's something you could trade in and you know, use it towards the purchase of the new one. You wouldn't get enough money for it, so I would just, you know, really keep that for a backup.
And the blacktop roller now, is that a larger or a small size one? Someone.
Well, this one is the one that we have now is a 4-ton.
Okay.
And the one that I'm looking to purchase is a little bit bigger. It's a 5-ton roller, so we can accomplish more, you know.
Yeah, I think we lend the rollers or some equipment to the village from time to time.
Yeah,
And
yeah.
I think they said the 4-ton one, or the one that we had, wasn't large enough
Yeah.
to do some of their projects. So just
Yeah,
wondered if
well,
this
you
is
know,
gonna be better.
we found that, well, you know, during our asphalt, you know, our paving program, there's been certain situations where the 4-ton roller just wasn't big enough to keep up with, you know, the process. So this one,
So this will be better.
this one's gonna be a little bit bigger, and it'll be easier to keep up with the process of the paving operation.
Now, Mike, I don't recall if you said it, because I might have been paying attention at the time. Did you make comment that we're gonna be doing a lot of paving ourselves like we used to
Yeah.
do in the past? And that's why we're purchasing?
Yeah, we have we have a motorized motorized paver. It's a commercial paver. It's on the smaller side. But it goes, it goes 16 feet wide, and it's a motorized paver. The one that we used to have, you hook to the back of the truck and you would pull it. This one is motorized, so it drives on its own. You can put a lot of material down if we, with the pieces of equipment we have, but we have to be able to roll it. You can't put it down and then not roll it.
So unlike, instead of going out for a contract and bid, he's gonna use his own manpower to do, most of it.
Yeah, there's,
He'll come back with a
there's
plan.
there's some projects that it's not cost effective for the highway department to do it, but, on the smaller roads and on a smaller scale, we can get a lot of material down and get a lot of work done.
Thanks.
All right?
Hey, Mike, I just wanted to say that in the last snowstorm, I got 2 calls on how great the roads were.
Oh, thank you.
And the pre-treatment on Joe's Hill or Federal Hill, but over by you. I've never seen such defined lines before. It's incredible. So
Yeah.
thank you and appreciate it.
It's all about the timing. If you can, if you can hit it right, it works very well.
Well, we could also see it.
Yeah.
Thank you.
And you know what, I actually have to say, I never saw how that stuff worked. It was so good this time, I stopped in my car and I got 3 pictures of it to show people exactly what that stuff does. You can see the lines right there, so it worked. Okay, thank you, Mike. Okay, I make a motion to go into the regular portion of the meeting.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
First one is waive the reading of the correspondence, so moved.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Okay, the approval of voucher list, $1,562,073.77, so moved.
Second.
Discussion. All in favor?
Aye.
3, setting of the meeting dates and public hearings. All meetings be held at 1360 Route 22, Brewster, New York, at 7 p.m. unless otherwise noted. Thursday, February 6, 2020. Thursday, February 20th, 2020. So moved.
Second.
Discussion. All in favor? Aye. Number 4, it's a motion to set a public hearing to amend Chapter 18-26, Town of Southeast Code of Ethics and Financial Disclosure Law for Thursday, February 20, 2020, and also to set a public hearing for the same date for, what was that called?
State line.
State line, for site plan, special permit, and wetland permit. So move for discussion.
Second.
Discussion. All in favor?
Aye.
Number 5, resolution to appoint to the planning board. Now therefore be resolved that the town board of the town of Southeast hereby appoints Lynn Eckhart, who has been duly recommended and deemed qualified to fill an unexpired term of the Southeast Planning Board to expire December 31, 2022, and be further resolved that that appointment shall take effective immediately upon the taking and filing the appropriate oath of office of the aforesaid appointee with the clerk of the town of Southeast. So move for discussion.
Second.
Discussion. Roll-
I'm going to be voting no tonight. It's nothing against Lynn. I just felt there were 5 great candidates. I'd like to thank all of them for applying. I just felt there was a better fit with another candidate, so that would have been my vote. So that's the only reason I'm going to vote no on Lynn tonight.
I'd also like to make a similar comment. I felt that there was a better qualified candidate for the position, and that's why I'll be voting.
Now, I will be supporting, Lynn's been an advocate sitting out in that audience long before I was sitting in the audience. I used to watch from the sidelines, but she was out there participating. She's done, I think, a great job. She's very well qualified. She was out there beforehand. She sat here for 8 years, and I think she has good input. I know that she represents probably 42 to 45% of the population based on the recent vote. And, you know, sometimes it's good to hear the other side as well.
Roll call vote?
Roll call vote.
Councilman Alvarez,
No.
Councilman Larka,
Yes.
Councilman Lord,
Yes.
Councilman O'Connor,
No.
Supervisor Hay.
Yes. Okay, number 7, resolution, Ninth Jam LLC, Southeast Executive Park parking, release of performance bond, establishment of maintenance bond. Now-
What about, number 6,
6.
special district?
Did we
Oh,
skip one?
hey, you know what? Where's that? Time out.
Special district bridge.
Yeah.
Yep, okay, I flipped too quick. The color blinded me. Okay, sorry. Number 6, resolution special district rates for 2020. Now therefore be resolved. The Town of Southeast Town Board hereby accepts the recommendation of the special district administrator, finds that the rates set forth in such recommendation are fair and equitable, and hereby establishes the rates for each of the town's special improvement districts for the year 2020 as set forth in the schedule of rates annexed hereto and made part hereof. So move for discussion.
I'll second.
Discussion. I want to thank Levon and Ron. We did this, of course, during our budget process, so I was part of it too, and I guess you all were as well as we were putting this budget together. And after it was done, we put the final touches to it. There's a few increases, one notable decrease for the second-year roll for Springhouse Estates. They still spend a lot of money. It's $800 a quarter in Springhouse. So they were up to $850 at one point in time. They're now down to $800 even. And Michelle, I know you live there, so you can buy us lunch tomorrow. Okay. All in favor?
Aye.
Did you say you buy lunch? No. Okay. Now we're going to Resolution 19 LLC, Southeast Executive Park parking, release of performance bond and establishment of the maintenance bond. Resolved that the town clerk is hereby directed to cancel and return the original performance bond posted by 9th Jam LLC or its agents to secure installation of erosion and sediment control measures in connection with construction of the parking facilities and alternate access to the commercial site from Independent Way, and to return any and all original bonds, deposits, letters of credit, or other indicia of security posted in connection with the project on the condition that the applicant/owner, A, files a post-construction performance guarantee for the maintenance of stormwater facilities in the amount not less than $23,300 for a period of 4 years. B, files a landscape maintenance bond in the amount not less than $2,500 for a period of 2 years. And C, deposit the sum of $1,500 in escrow with the town clerk, such sum to be used in fund annual stormwater system inspections and reports in the event the property owner fails to provide same. So move for discussion.
Second.
Okay, brief discussion, just so the public knows, that's the glass building up on Route 22 where the medical offices are. The parking lot was expanded. I was up there today, and the lot is being used. The lot's a lot clearer, I mean, the number of cars there. It has a tremendous amount of traffic. It's working out well, and I think it came out very well, and thank them. And of course, the town participated. We provided them with some of the town property, which we hope to benefit by at some point in time. We have a property, have 10 acres up there. So the parking that they put in will also be utilized by the town sometime in the future. And again, it came out really well. And I would just say, anyone that goes to that facility, if you're go to the cardiac facility, park up top and walk down. It works really well for you. Okay, all in favor?
Aye.
Number 8, it's a resolution to appoint a special prosecutor. Now therefore be resolved that the Town Board of the Town of Southeast hereby appoints Heather Abissi, Esquire, care of Beehive, 291 Main Street, Beacon, New York, 12508, as special prosecutor in connection with the matter of People versus Dennis Santucci, excuse me, alleging violations of Town Code, Chapter 6, dogs, and authorizes such special prosecutor to file her notice of appearance and to fully investigate such alleged violation and to commence, recommence, or continue such criminal and civil proceedings as might be necessary to secure the full, fair, and equal enforcement of laws in connection therewith, and be further resolved that said special town council prosecutor shall be compensated a rate of $150 per hour for attorney time and shall be reimbursed for all necessary disbursements made on behalf of the town. So move for discussion.
Second.
Discussion. All in favor?
Aye.
Okay, number 9, award landscaping contract for 3 years to La Tia Contractors and Landscaping. They're the current contractors with the town, and they want again to bid for 3 more years. So move for discussion.
Second.
Discussion. All in favor?
Aye.
Number 10, motion award window restoration project, 67 Main Street, Newburgh, sash, and restoration. So move for discussion.
Second.
This is for Old Town Hall.
Old Town Hall, yes. The balance of the windows, the third floor was done about a year ago, and the balance of the windows on the second floor and the very first floor, basement floor, will be done.
Okay, great, thank you.
Okay? And I'd like to thank Elena, I see you're out there in the audience. Elena Truscott spends a tremendous amount of time, she loves me, I tell you that now, she's on the phone all the time. Don't tell your husband that though, but I got to meet him this summer, as a matter of fact, when out there campaigning. But Elena spent a lot of time putting this all together, and the studio around the corner has done a great job in helping us obtain grants, and you guys are doing a great job. Keep it up.
Yeah, thank you.
All in favor?
Aye.
Okay, I guess that's it. Comment from the public? Okay, let's not fight. We got 2 gentlemen to come up. You should be on a game show. You have your hand up first.
How are you? Scott Seaman from the Brewster School Board. I wanted to thank you for your work and wish you a Happy New Year. To follow up on our communication, I know next month the key communicator should be meeting again, and the invitations will be going out soon. And to also follow up on communication, last year Supervisor Hay was nice enough to let us make a small budget presentation, and I wanted to see if there was some interest or availability for possibly April or May to try to get more word out there, and if it's possible to maybe make some type of presentation.
Should it be smaller?
Yeah, it's below 4%.
Yeah, we've changed us superintendents this year, so there might be a little
Time-wise
little
and
less talk.
money-wise.
We'll keep it very clear, and I'll have the business office contact you to confirm information on that.
Yeah, give us, I won't say a month's notice, but let me tell you the dates and when you want to do it, because we have 2 meetings, like, it's usually around the first and third, but depending on the schedule,
Okay,
and let's just have some time.
perfect. Thank you very much.
And just
Thank you.
one thing, Scott, I met with Dr. Banlow and Dr. Gosh this weekend as a follow-up to a meeting we had about the Tenetta Lake quality, and getting the kids involved with doing some water quality testing that Don Cuomo has assisted us with in the past, and some other reach out. So they agreed to work with us, and we'll get them some information, so thank you.
And we appreciate an effort, anything that the kids can do in the community to help the improvement. Be great.
Thanks.
Thank you.
Can I ask you a question? Do
Yes,
you know
sir.
anything about the Garden Street sale?
I would say it's approximately closing within a month.
Okay,
Yeah, within a month's time. If it's not the end of this month, sometime next month, it should be closing.
thank you.
All right, thanks.
I am Paul Marini from Enoch Crosby Road, and I came up about this time last year and opened a discussion about Maple Road, and I wonder if
You have to
anything
ruin our year.
happened.
You have to ruin our year. Okay, the highway superintendent's here tonight. I'll begin to speak for him to start, and if he wants to butt in, I'll let him do that, okay? Maple Road, right now, the portion from Sheck Pool that's been previously paved will be repaved this year, okay? From that portion to Enoch Crosby, I think at one point in time you might have been in favor or against, and you have switched your sides since then. As you, are you,
No, I don't
no,
think
you're
he ever
still
switched.
against?
Never.
He's
I'm
for.
for.
4, okay. Any rate, he's new to the position, he's looking into the situation, and at some point in time this year, I believe he will be back in front of this town board with a recommendation.
Okay. You know, we've gone through it before and given examples of issues we've had with the road, and I just want to relate one more. Friday morning, last Friday, my wife collapsed in the kitchen, and I ran over and resuscitated her, called 911, the ambulance came. I wasn't able to go in the ambulance. I followed the ambulance to the hospital, and we had to go 15 miles an hour on Maple Road. So I'm just disgusted. You know, I can't understand why it's not maintainable. I don't blame the highway department. In the winter, it's just not feasible, in my opinion, for safety purposes. So, you know, I hope something happens, but, you know, we'll see.
Well, we've had it here before, so. Mike, you want to talk?
Sure.
Okay.
And I hope your wife is okay.
It's been an exciting 23 days, I can tell you that much. But one good thing is I haven't had to deal with the weather. We are working very hard on Maple Road, trying to maintain it as it is right now to try to keep it as passable as possible in the winter. It's a very hard thing to do. You know, I've already spoke with the town engineer. We're going to reach out to DEC. Our plan is right now to work on a plan to go from the Carmel end of Maple Road where the pavement stops to Enoch Crosby, the intersection of Enoch Crosby, with either millings or we're putting a proposal together for the DEC to give us insight on what we're going to be allowed to do between that unpaved section, whether we have to install drainage, not install drainage, what kind of material we can use. I'm hoping to be able to have something in the spring that I can present to the town board, and we can go forward with, you know, I'm not saying that it's necessarily that the work is going to get done this year, but I want to be able to have a plan in place so everybody knows what's happening. I found a file downstairs in the filing cabinet. It's this thick with Maple Road. It goes all the way back to Dick Palmer. This has been an ongoing, you know, situation with the residents that live there, and you know, frankly, we need to address it, and I think the sooner we can do that, the better. And at least for right now, the one end from Enoch Crosby to the Carmel end of Maple, we're definitely going to pave that first section coming in from Sheck Pools, and then hopefully we'll be able to have a plan for the rest of that other section up to Enoch Crosby.
Thank you. Paul, just while you're back, you can just yell out. When you're talking about paving, are you talking from the end of Enoch Crosby going to the right toward the hospital? You're looking to get that portion paved as well? Or just the portion from Enoch Crosby to the left going toward Check Pool?
I would prefer paving the whole thing, but at least one.
Okay.
Either way.
So if it went to from Check Pool to Enoch Crosby, that's what you're advocating for?
Yeah.
I think that's possibly doable. Okay, thank you. Anyone else from the public? Town board?
Yeah, just ask a question. So the parking that's just been installed, Southeast Executive Park?
Yes,
And so the town has 10 acres of land up there?
we have 10 acres.
Is that land that people could like walk and, you know, like parkland? Is it something that we would be able to open to people or?
Not right now. I think we have to have some kind of a plan. Right now, there's a lot of dirt. Mike and I were up there today with the town engineer.
Okay.
Part of the deal was when we gave the land, they were gonna help, I won't say landscape, but, you know, make that more usable.
Right.
So let's get that portion done and see what can be done.
I just know that that's like one of the highest points around.
It's one of
really
the prettiest
pretty-
points,
pretty
and someday
cool.
there's gonna be a town hall there, but I won't be here, and I'm pretty old, so.
So you're running on the platform that you want a town hall there, so that's
No,
probably not
no,
gonna be elected?
no. It's, I'll tell you, it's gotta be it's a very pretty site.
It is,
Okay.
it's beautiful.
Really, really nice. People maybe could picnic up there at some point in time, but it's also a very convenient spot for people to, you know, dump stuff on and things of that nature, so
Yeah.
we're working on it.
Thank you.
Okay. Anyone else? Okay, the bids went out for the landfill. We sent it out to solar panels. We sent out to at least 5 interested parties, some from previous, some a couple new that had been in contact with the town over the past 2 years, actually almost 3 years. And put it out onto BidNet. Today it was due by 11 o'clock, and by 11 minutes to 11, we didn't have one bid. At 10 minutes to 11, one bid came in. And we opened the bid, and it's nothing like the first one. And from my reading, again, I only read the cover. I couldn't go through the documents because they're quite thick. When you get an opportunity to look at them, you'll see why. The other entity, I won't say their name, but they made a bid, and they won at the time, and we were going to get substantial rewards over a 20-year period. Things have changed big time from that application to the one we just did. And we're going to get 10% of what we might have gotten before. But it's all based, one, on prevailing wage and a whole bunch of other things. So at any rate, I'm going to make a recommendation. Well, Levon's was out today. We only have the one bid. Look to award it to that contractor, and then I'm going to ask them to come to our meeting on February 20th to explain in detail the proposal.
Could we put it out to bid again if we weren't happy with the proposal?
Personally, I would say we've been doing this now for like 3 years. Everyone had an opportunity, and if you want to do it, I just don't see prolonging it any further. What happened with New York State with solar energy, all the incentives are gone, and it's not what it was. They keep talking solar, but the money's just not there. And when you let's listen to the proposal. So if you want to wait until that point in time, is that what
Maybe
you
we
want?
wait till Indian Point closes and then put it out to bid again.
Yeah, that might be whatever. Okay, so what's your pleasure?
No, I'd like to hear the presentation.
Yeah.
I agree, we've been trying to do this for years. I
Yeah.
mean,
And,
I've been talking
again,
about this for
the
12
money we were
years.
promised, one of the reasons it didn't happen, because they couldn't live up to the recommendation. That's what happened. So, again, have them come in on February 20th, explain there's a lot of good things, there's a lot of good things, and I'll let them make that presentation, and then we'll go accordingly.
Thanks.
Yeah.
Okay. Anyone else?
Yes, just wanted to mention, myself and Highway Superintendent Burdick attended the New York State Association of Towns training up in Albany for a few days. Some very enlightening, okay? I think they only scratched the surface. It's the new town official training. And I know Mike expressed that he'd be taking some of the highway superintendent road-specific training offered by Cornell, I believe. So we're looking forward to seeing that happen. I know one of the courses is even going to be held in Putnam County at the Bureau of Emergency Services, I think in March or something. Yeah. So about roads and everything. So looking forward to that, and I'm glad we got to attend the training. So.
Okay. I'll entertain a motion.
I'll make a motion, to close tonight's meeting.
Is there a second?
I'll second it.
All in favor?
Aye.
Thank you all for coming.